Hello, I'm Richard Hunter, Head of Markets, and welcome to our look ahead for the week commencing the 2nd of September. It's been a fairly stable last week of August for most markets, particularly given the difficult start we had to the month. And there's been some economic figures coming out of the States, for example, in terms of jobless claims and a revision upwards to GDP, which has allayed any recessionary fears for the moment. One slight fly in the ointment has been the performance of Nvidia, the semiconductor market darling in the States, which fell by about 2% on the day and 6% the day after its latest quarterly update, despite beating Wall Street estimates, and that just shows how the bar is continuing to rise in terms of expectations going forward. That being said, the Dow Jones, obviously less impacted by exposure to tech, hit record highs 3 times this week, and in the year to date the Dow Jones is now up by 9.7%. The S&P 500 is up by 17.2%, the Nasdaq by 16.7%, and our own FTSE 100 is also having a good run at the moment. It's up about 8.8% and not far from the record highs achieved in May. So turning to next week, we've got a couple of companies worth looking out for. The first one is Barratt Developments, shares up about 11% over the last year or so. The Redrow takeover looks like it's going to go through, not quite been confirmed yet, but it's looking more likely than not. In the meantime, in terms of their numbers, we'll be looking out for the usual things. Margins, for example, they've had to resort over the last year to sales incentives to keep interest going. Obviously, that's impacted margins. Also, look out for build cost inflation, any uptick in reservations, and indeed the size of their forward order book. Similarly, we've got an update, a trading statement from Berkeley Group, another house builder. Shares up about 22% over the last year. Slightly different this one. It's got more of an exposure to London and the South East, and it tends to deal in slightly more upmarket homes. So again, let's see how the level of inquiries is coming through there. Also, they were saying at the last update that they would be looking for further land investment when the time is right. Question, has the time now come for that further investment? And also they launched something called the Build to Rent platform. It's in its very early days, but we may well get an update there. Finally, Currys has a trading statement. These shares are certainly on the run. They're up by 58% over the last year. Previous thorn in the sign was the performance of their Nordics region, which accounts for about 40% of revenues. There were signs last time we heard from them of that starting to turn the corner, so we'll be getting an update on that. The UK business had been slightly softer, but obviously in terms of the general economic data we're seeing coming through in the UK, it may just be that things are slightly improving. Also, interestingly, Currys is a company which is in bed with a couple of big US tech firms in terms of AI and technological development. So it'll be interesting to see if they've got anything to say on that front as well. Thank you for watching. Have a great week.